Alright, what up everybody, it's Riley from the Cross-Platform Action Squad. And I have a festive story to tell you guys. It happened when I was in a campaign with some of my friends, and we decided to do a little side story one night for Christmas. So, beware, this is a Christmas-themed story. So anyways, our party consisted of 3 dwarves, one of them a cleric named Armrak, one of them a druid named Ulfgar, and the other a barbarian named Stonewall, which was yours truly. And we also had a female elf rogue named Kenai. We started off in a tavern, just kind of, chilling, drinking. We already knew each other because, like I said, this is a kind of a side story off of a normal campaign we were doing before. So anyways, all of a sudden, these 2 knights come in, and surprise, surprise, one of them was Silent Night, the other one was Holy Night. Yep. Christmas. They come to us as they see that we're adventurers, clearly, by the way we're dressed and we have weapons, for God's sake. So they're just like, hey, can we speak to you in private? And we're just like, no. Can you talk to us here? And they're just like, no, it's private. And we're just like, well, no, because that's suspicious. We don't want to talk to you in private. After this whole exchange of us saying no, we finally agreed to go outside. They have a very ornate carriage that they want us to take a ride in with them. Freaking Kenai decided to jump on top of the roof of it and just kind of sit there. I don't know what she was trying to do. Anyways, we start driving away. They're trying to talk to us about all this stuff. I don't really remember what they were talking about because when we started going, we just started getting attacked by some unknown force. And we looked out and we noticed there were snowmen chasing us. We're just like, well, I guess we should fight these snowmen in this carriage. Kenai's still on the roof. She never got down. She's just kind of hitting them with her bow. I believe she had a bow. From the previous campaign, I had this enchanted pot, Stonewall did, that was an enchantment that went wrong to make it so that water would boil in this pot, but now water evaporates into steam right away as soon as it touches the pot. So I'm trying to hit the snowmen with it because obviously snowmen are just frozen water. That wasn't working. I was rolling like shit. The snowmen are hitting the carriage and the glass in the windows is breaking, which we all have to take a moment to gather the glass because glass is freaking expensive and we're just collecting all this money. I'm still trying to get the snowman with the pot. I'm almost falling out of the carriage because I'm rolling like shit. But fucking Kenai ain't. She was able to grab me while I was falling out. The carriage is starting to topple over this crevasse that we're near. Ulfgar, our druid, decided to turn into a spider and get on the front of the carriage and stick some web on some nearby rocks, just trying to stop it like the train in Spider-Man 2. He's trying to do this and it doesn't work. And we fall off the cliff. We wake up in a cabin and we each have a present in front of us. So we all decided to open the presents. Armrak got a big candy cane, if I remember correctly, that shoots magic missiles. Ulfgar, I don't remember what he got, unfortunately. Kenai got a big ass Yule log, just a wooden bat, basically. That looks like a tree. Stonewall got a cloak made of fleece that curses the wearer, forcing it to listen to mariachi music so long as it is worn. And that was called the Fleece of Navidad. Christmas. After we take all this, Ulfgar and Stonewall decide to go outside and look for herbs because Ulfgar likes to look for herbs because he's a weird ass druid. Kenai and Armrak are in the cabin and they notice a couple chests. So Kenai decides to pick the lock on the chest, opens it up. She finds clothes for little people. Armrak is getting frustrated with his chest because he can't fucking pick the lock. So he decides to just smash the shit out of it. And this also just has clothes in it. Ulfgar and Stonewall hear voices coming. They kind of peer to see what it was. And it's a couple of little elves. Not D&D elves, but Santa elves. The little ones. They start saying, oh God, you woke up. And we're just like, yeah. Did you guys put us in this cabin? They're just like, yeah, we did. And we're just like, oh, thanks for the presents. They're just like, oh, we didn't give you presents. Did you open those? And we're just like, yeah. It's just like, oh, so you accepted the gifts? And we're just like, I guess. Were we not supposed to? The elves tell us that they are gifts from a Krampus. And we're just like, well, that sucks. Where is the Krampus? Is he a bad guy? They're just like, yeah, he's been terrorizing us. Here, we'll show you where his cave is. So we gather Armrak and Kenai, and all 4 of us decide to go to the cave. Kenai and Stonewall decide to sneak in. Now bear in mind, Kenai is a rogue. Stonewall is a barbarian. As God intended it. Kenai sneaks in all nice on her side of the cave. Stonewall's tripping over every goddamn thing he can find. And we notice the Krampus is sitting here at a little table. He's having his own little feast. The Krampus doesn't notice Kenai, but he sure as hell notices Stonewall. And he starts talking to him just like, hey man, why don't you come in here? And Stonewall responds with, you know what? That sounds lovely, and just strolls right up to the feast. So the Krampus starts to charm Stonewall while Stonewall's trying to ask questions. So Stonewall is asking him to stop terrorizing the elves, and as it turns out, the Krampus actually stole all the children from a nearby village, which is probably what Silent Night and Holy Night were trying to tell us at the beginning, but whatever. And he has them in a big-ass sack over in the corner of the room, which Stonewall and Kenai notice. Stonewall is just like, hey, man, why don't you just let the kids go? You're not getting anything out of this. He's just like, nah, man, that's not what I do. I'm trying to roleplay being charmed, so I'm trying to level with the Krampus, just be like, you know what? That's fair. And I sit down and start feasting with him because, the food looks good. Kenai goes out. She says, hey, Stonewall is joining sides with the Krampus. And so they decide to act. Ulfgar turns into a big-ass badger and goes in. They start talking to Stonewall, just like, hey, man, what are you doing? And Stonewall's like, man, the Krampus isn't that bad, guys. I mean, he's just doing his thing. I'm trying to talk him into giving us his sack of kids, and it'd be like, woo, we saved the day. Fuck yeah. And they're not buying this at all, which they shouldn't. So Ulfgar decides to get Badger ready. It's like battle ready, but he's a fucking badger. But all of a sudden, he senses Armrak coming in and channeling divinity, which he knows what that means. And Stonewall knows what that means. So Stonewall is just like, whoa, Armrak, we can talk about this. Armrak starts charging up his Thunder Wave, which, in case you didn't know, has a range of 15 cubic feet around the user and pushes him 10 feet back and does way too much damage. So Stonewall's trying to, get Armrak to not do this, and Armrak isn't having any of that shit and just claps his hands together, makes this big-ass Thunder Wave. Stonewall goes flying, lands on the ground. He is incapacitated at around -8 health. He can't do anything. And that's our fucking cleric, everybody. The Krampus also took some of this too, and after that, the Krampus is just like, oh shit, I'm gonna fuck these guys up. So Ulfgar goes in and starts spraying poison out of his badger mouth on the Krampus, which is actually doing quite a bit of damage. Kenai's in the back firing her bow and arrow at it to no avail. It's not doing shit. She keeps missing. That was the only time she ever rolled bad that whole night. Kenai just decides to say, fuck this, and she kicks the Krampus in the shin, which killed it. So we take the Krampus's sack after that dumbass way that we killed it, and we bring it back to the village. We send Ulfgar into the sack, which is actually bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. It's like a TARDIS. So Ulfgar starts going in, grabbing all the kids, and he notices some guy in a cell that we don't know asking for help, just like, hey man, could you please let us out? And Ulfgar, being the generous little dwarf he was, he's just like, yeah man, sure. So he lets him out. Turns out it's motherfucking Santa Claus. And Santa Claus comes in and she's like, oh, I got to give you all presents now. And we're just like, yeah, we've been having good luck with those. Everybody gets a stat bonus from Santa. Everybody's all merry and gay. All of a sudden he comes up to Stonewall, notices Stonewall's little button eyes, and he's just like, I've got just the thing for you. And he taps him on the nose, and Christmas magic envelops Stonewall, and all of a sudden Stonewall has the most beautiful eyes ever seen by a mortal man. And that is how we saved Christmas. Go. Merry Christmas, everybody. Where's Mark?